So it's 1:30 now, so I guess we'll start. So good afternoon and good evening for those who are in Malaysia. Thank you all for joining us today at this live stream, providing you with all the updates from our university's partner on COVID-19 pandemic. So we know this is a difficult time. Some of you probably has flown back to your home country to stay with your family, or some of you has decided to stay at home, to stay in the UK until things has gone. So I hope you are doing well, taking good care of yourself. So basically, what we're going to focus on today is really just to provide you with some of the updates from our universities, as well as giving you some of the advice on how to stay healthy, stay positive at home, as well as for those who are applying for bar. We'll give you some of the updates on BCAT and IN as well, as you guys probably worry about it as well. So ever since the beginning of March, we know that there's been changes. In the UK ourselves, we're working from home, our team, the UKEC team, as well as all the university staff. And with the new kind of like a semi-lockdown policy, we can only leave home for shopping for basic necessities, for doing one form of exercise a day, or for going for any medical appointment, or only travel to work only if it's absolutely necessary. So we all, although we're working from home, we're all here to support you, making sure everything's all right. For those of you who are in the UK, do remember that you really need to stay at home, not going elsewhere to meet with your friends. I know it's difficult. Even for myself, I find it struggling quite a lot staying at home most of the time. But do know that the police are on patrol. You can be fined if you break the lockdown rules, and you can also be arrested. So recently, there's a news already yesterday. A person in Manchester get arrested and get fined for that. So they do really take it seriously. So for those of you who are in the UK, these shops are still open, and you can go if it's necessary, such as pharmacies, petrol station, garage, obviously the supermarket as well, but only go if it's necessary, really. So back to the main topic today, the changes on university policies regarding these few things. A lot of you must be really worried about what would happen under the current situation. Things are so uncertain. We know that most of the universities are doing online teaching at the minute, or even online assessment. But for those who are doing your final year of your bachelor and thinking about to study a master, you might be worried about what will happen for next year. For example, for your master degree, for your bar training course, for your LPC, or any other courses. Therefore, today we've invited three universities to come to talk about the changes and how they're dealing with the current situation. As I said before, we will also talk about some of the changes on BCAT and IN, and also give you some tips for staying at home. Also, please make use of the question box provided. We will keep monitor it and flag up all the questions and answer all of them, especially later on when the university representative are doing their presentation. Do ask questions during that time, and we can help you to ask the university staff about it. So don't hesitate, just flag up any question that you have. So yes. So before we invite our university staff, here's some of the current university update for the most popular university that students apply to. So you can see that some of the university has lowered the entry requirement already. For example, with Westminster, they've lowered the entry requirement for all the master course from 2.1 to a 2.2. The IELTS entry requirement also reduced as well. Other university are doing online processional English, online teaching at the minute. But if you have any other question for any other universities, please do ask your education advisor, as we have a database of all the situation or the update of each university. So as we, UKEC, will work with over 100 universities, it's difficult for us to provide you all the updates in one presentation slide. but do ask your education advisor and they will be able to answer you to provide you all the updates that needed. So let's get to the main topic for today, our update from our university representative. So today we're really lucky to have 3 universities joining us, which is Northumbria University, UWE Bristol, and the University of Law, providing updates on any changes on entry requirement, any changes on enrollment or start date, as well as top tips for students coming this September intake. So I'll pass the time to our representative from University West of England, UWE Bristol, Sophie. She will give us all the update for UWE for now. So, hello, Sophie.
Hello, hi Warren. Thank you for inviting me to address your students and applicants at what I know is a very challenging time for a lot of people.
Yes, definitely. Are you working from home now at the minute?
I am, yes. We're all working from home, so we're having to navigate around Skype calls and isolation and video conferences where people's dogs jump on the conference and people's children are running around. So it's been a very interesting time. However, it's meant that the university is really looking at some innovative ways to support current students, but also our applicants. So it's a really it's a tough time and very challenging for a lot of people. I know quite scary, but the university has had a big role in trying to support current students, but also really trying to ensure that for current applicants that we're doing all we can to make the transition to their UK in the autumn possible and also positive for them.
Perfect. Yeah, so I'll pass on the time to you now so you can give us all the update. And then I'll monitor the question. If any student asks question, then we can answer all of them at the end as well.
No problem, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so hello everybody. It's great to be able to speak to you all. It's a different way than maybe we normally would have done, but fantastic that we still get that communication. Just to echo what Warren said at the moment, we know this is a very challenging time for a lot of people. There's a lot of anxiety and worry about what is happening right now, but also what is going to happen for the future. And universities across the UK and in fact across the globe are very, very aware of this. You know, I can speak for UWE, but I'm sure for a lot of UK universities to say that I know that every university is working very, very closely with the government, with partners, with you know, our good partners like UKEC, to make sure that we're doing all we can to support our current students, but also our applicants, who I know have a lot of questions and there's a lot of uncertainty around there. So I'm going to try and just cover some of the areas that I know that our current students and that our applicants are asking us, to see if I can offer a little bit of reassurance, and I'm happy to take any questions at the end, to, you know, if there's anything that students want to know kind of on top of that. So to begin with, just to say, so UWE, like Warren mentioned earlier, has transitioned now to online teaching for the rest of our term. We do still have a number of students, both international and home students, who've remained in the UK, either out of preference, you know, or sometimes difficulties getting back, but those students are getting a lot of support to ensure that they're feeling safe and comfortable during what, as we know, a very challenging time. In terms of changes to entry requirements, the biggest thing that we're looking at the moment is where there have been cancellations or delays to exams, or even where students feel that their final grade may be impacted as a result of the anxiety or stress that could be attributed to what's going on at the moment. So the university is doing a lot of work to look at, you know, where there are delays, are we able to use predicted grades? If there's been cancelled exams with no sign of when that's going to take place, if we can actually look at taking a holistic overview of applications and really making sure that we're still supporting our applicants with that. One of the biggest barriers to this at the moment, and it's not it's not a barrier we can't overcome, but we want to be very careful and supportive of our applicants, is what that means around visas. So for us, the priority is not making quick reactionary decisions where we suddenly start making unconditional offers. We need to ensure that any students who are going to join us in September or October are fully supported visa-wise. So if we are going to use predicted grades, we want to make sure that that is going to be okay for visas. And that's, that's not a quick decision. We're having those conversations. Those conversations are not just taking place directly with my team, but through the vice chancellors of university, who are having those high-level conversations across the sector to understand what can we be doing to support those new applicants who are coming in, who may be impacted by no fault of their own through lack of English language qualification, or lack of exam or final degree certificate, or delay to that. So unfortunately, I have no firm answer for you now on that, because we do want to make sure that we're working and making sure that students are impacted by their visas. But what I can reassure you of, this is a priority for the university. So we are hoping that by the end of the month, end of next month, is the end of this month, that we can have some really positive updates for our applicants, or for students who are interested in applying, in terms of being able to support them even if they've been negatively impacted. And like I said, I understand the impact isn't just on delays, but students being quite anxious about exams being impacted and their final grade being impacted. So we really want to take a positive and pragmatic view to those applications when we get them in, to assess lots of different criteria to make sure that we're looking at you. So like Warren said earlier, if you've currently got an application with UWE, or you're interested in applying, speak to your counsellor and your educational advisor with the agency, and they will liaise with us about all of your different circumstances. So we don't want you to worry in this time. We want to reassure you that that support is there, and that we're doing all we can to help you through that. This also includes English language. So as Warren said earlier, UWE has moved our pre-sessional English language programme to be online. So for any students, any applicants who are still conditional on IELTS, we are going to be sending out some communications very soon to see what we can do to help with that. Now, the good news is we will have 2 pre-sessional English language programmes running. One of them will be UK based, and so the time zone will be in the UK. So for students who are still based in the UK, who may need some additional English language support, the time zone will be the same, but we will also be running English language and pre-sessional English language in Asia as well. So the time zone will be much better for students who are in Malaysia or China or other parts of the region where perhaps those time zones can be a problem. We're just working on the detail of that, but very soon we will be able to update our website and update our applicants with those details. The other thing we are also working on, because we know that some students' English is very, very good, and they don't need pre-sessional English, but they're concerned about delays to IELTS examinations or not being able to access IELTS at all. So for all of our applicants and all future applicants where they know their English is good, we will be moving towards some online placement tests for English language. That it will be similar to IELTS in that it will test all of the 4 components and give you an overall grade. And if you pass that, meeting the requirements of your course, so the equivalent of a 6 or a 6.5 or higher for our BPC, we're happy to offer placement tests free of charge to students to be able to remove the anxiety around that. So again, UWE, like a lot of places, a lot of this news is new to us. A lot of these changes that are happening on a weekly basis in the UK, and meaning that UWE has to adapt, so we have to adapt very quickly, but we don't want to rush into things. So I'm really here to reassure you that all of this is being worked on, but we don't want to rush and give you the wrong offer and the wrong product. We want to make sure that the English language course, if you need it, is the best we can offer online, that the placement tests when we offer them work the best way possible, that when we assess your examinations and your grades, that we're fully confident that you're not going to have any issues when applying for your visa. But UWE, like I'm sure every university in the UK, is looking at, it's the priority that we have right now to make sure that our applicants are supported. So in terms of changes to our entry requirements, those are all of the things that we're looking at the moment that we feel will be really positive to our applicants going forward. In terms of changes to enrolment and start dates, again, it's very hard to give you a concrete answer to this at the moment. As and when the situation changes, or as time goes on, it will be very much easier for us to look at what the university is able to do. We are having discussions about whether or not we can delay start slightly, but we really want to understand how this will impact on students and how it will impact on when they finish. We're also having discussions about whether or not some courses could be online still to support students who aren't able to join us, you know, at the start of term. And what the university is sure of at the moment is that we will start the September or the autumn term will go ahead. We are still planning on that. There is no change to that. The changes that we are discussing are just to look at how we can facilitate students who are delayed joining and not being kind of negatively impacted by any of those delays. We are also looking at some online learning, pre-learning that students can do. So we will also look at how we can support students who are going to come and join us in the autumn term with some pre-learning and some online resources, so that if you're worried about a study gap or worried about certain skills that you feel will have suffered because of that, that we're still going to be able to really prepare you for when you start at the university. And then finally, we are also going to look at our January intake as well to see whether or not we can provide more options then, to really make sure that students who feel that they may be more greatly impacted have got those options in place. In terms of advice for students who are currently in the UK, it's very hard for me to give that on behalf of other students. Like Warren said, for those of you who are in the UK, you know, maybe studying your final year, please do engage with your university about what advice they're giving you in terms of your accommodation and things like that. Please do be following the government guidance. You know, you're not going to, nobody wants to get you into trouble. You shouldn't be scared of going out. You shouldn't be worried about going to the supermarkets. As long as you're following the advice and guidance that is being given based on the current situation, you are still safe to go to the shop. You know, you can go and do that exercise, but just make sure that you're following that guidance and that you're looking after yourself. And those are the most important things. But what you shouldn't be worried about is you know, going outside or getting into trouble, or that things have all sold out in the supermarkets. Things are a lot more calmer now. They have done previously. But really, for students who are in the UK, my advice to you is, you know, be in touch with your university. Visit a lot of universities now have got very good FAQs on the website, including UWE, and this covers everything from the government advice and guidance. It covers what we're doing for assessment and examinations, online teaching, accommodation, all of those things. You know, so for example, the university as well is just about to launch FAQs for our applicants as well. So you'll be able to go and get up-to-date information on a more regular basis without relying on us emailing you a lot. So really visiting the university that you're currently studying at, or the university that you've applied for, is very important. Following government advice and guidance, and if you're not sure what that means for you, please contact your university to clarify that, so that you know that you've got that support and advice in place. But really, you know, my overall advice is that universities, if you're currently at a university and you're worried about finishing your year, are really looking at prioritising their current students and making sure that they've got all that support. No university wants you to fail. No university wants you to be worried or anxious or feeling stuck and away from home. So please do use the support and advice of your university. If you're an applicant who's moved back home, or perhaps an applicant who had applied to the UK and is worried about coming in this September, again, the whole all of the universities in the UK are not just working independently, but they're working together to ensure that all of the guidance is followed, that we're very clear on how we can support applicants, but that we really do want to reassure you that we're all here to support both current students and applicants to make sure that come September, we're able to have you all study and be the successful students that we know you want to be. I've put here the URL for the university website. If you go onto the main page, there is at the top of the page a link through to our coronavirus FAQs. And like I said, most universities will have that information available to you. So please do visit those pages. And if you've got any questions at all, I'm happy to take them now. But otherwise, thank you for your time. You know, everyone, please do stay safe and look after yourself. But please do feel positive about the future, because universities are really here to support you through this time. So thank you.
Thanks a lot, Sophie. Yeah, I think it's really useful information to reassure students that they are being well looked after. If there are any updates, we'll inform the student immediately. We have 2 questions so far. I think one you did cover it, but I think for students they just want confirmation just in case. The question is about IELTS. The student is applying for the bar course, so they're wondering whether they can take the English test, the internal English test that you mentioned.
Yes, they can. Yes, UWE has approved this year that we can use our own English. Previously, for the bar course, we would need official IELTS, but the university has approved this year that our own English language test can be used for that. So that is definitely possible. And again, the good news is that those tests will be carried out both on UK time, but also in Asia from our Malaysia hub as well. So for students who are overseas, you don't have to worry about taking a test which is, you know, very late in the evening for you, or if you're in the UK, you can also take a test which is UK time as well. So if you're a current applicant, we will be in touch very soon with details about booking onto that test, probably by the end of April, if not before. If you're interested in applying to UWE, then please, we will keep your counsellor up to date so that they can let you know about those details as well.
Thank you, Sophie. And one more question is regarding deposit. So, students are wondering whether there are any changes on the deposit at the minute, because for the bar student, they have quite like a set deposit for each 6 weeks.
Yes, so there's 2 updates actually. That's a good question. 2 updates for the deposit. One are overall. So generally for the university, we require a £3,000 deposit to confirm your place and get your CAS once they start getting issued. That deposit will still be needed, but for this year it will be fully refundable. So normally there is an administrative fee or terms and conditions of what students need to abide by to get that deposit back. But this year, given the situation, we want students to feel confident that if they're not able to join, that's not going to be another barrier for them. So the general £3,000 deposit will be fully refundable unless we have fraudulent applicants, which I know none of you will be. So you can be reassured of that, and that will be updated on our website too. In terms of the bar professional training course, so the BPC, there is a £350 deposit. Because we get many more applications than we have spaces, there is a small deposit that we need to be paid within 6 weeks of the offer. That is still needed. However, there is a little bit of flexibility there. So as long as students are in touch with us, we can look at delaying that, but also just to offer reassurance that will also be fully refundable if you're not able to join. So that deposit will not be withheld. If you're not able to join because you're impacted in any way, we will be able to refund that as and when the circumstances arise. So that £350 deposit to secure your place is still needed. But again, there is some flexibility because we recognise this is a difficult time, but also we will refund that if you're not able to join us in the autumn intake.
Perfect. Thank you, Sophie. Just one more question follow up on the English test. The student asking how much is the test? I think it's free, right?
It is free. Yes, no charge for the test. We really we recognise this is a very difficult time for students. We have no interest in charging them for that. As long as you're an applicant at UWE, so you have to be an applicant, the test is free. It will be free of charge.
That's really good news. Basically, double good news. So like free English test and then no charge for the deposit.
Yeah.
One more thing students quite worry about is because a lot of the students, they heard that some of their university are planning to do their exam in around August time instead. So that might have a major impact on getting the offer to fulfill all the conditions.
Yeah, there's two things that we will look at there. One, the university is already considering a later start of term because we do know that this will, if that's the case, that will impact lots and lots of students who will all be worrying about getting there on time. So we would potentially look at pushing back the start of term to ensure that students do have enough time to apply for the visa. Or, like I said before, we are trying to see if we can use things like predicted grades in place of final transcript to still allow students to join and apply for the CAS. That's a little bit trickier because it does require us to be speaking to the Home Office and to the UKVI to get their approval. But that's one of the things that UWE and I'm sure lots of other universities are exploring to ensure that students aren't negatively impacted.
Perfect. One more question is one of our student, Ashley from Thailand. She's asking how long would the delay of deposit be?
The delay for the BPC or in terms of refunding?
I think it's both. Because she didn't
Okay.
mention that. Yeah.
Okay, so hi Ashley. For us, the delay of paying the BPC deposit. So the deposit that we need earlier is only for the bar professional training course. It's not for any other course. So that £350 will be on a case by case basis because we know that some students, have got personal circumstances and they really do want to join UWE, but for whatever reason they're not able to pay that within that time frame. So we would rather have those discussions one-on-one with students to understand. For our general deposit, so for the £3,000, there is no deadline on that. So you don't have to have paid that by a certain date. We will continue to accept those deposits right throughout the summer. And all we will bear in mind is once we've confirmed our start date, that the visa processing time works for that. So at some point in time, we will communicate what that deposit deadline is, but that won't be until the summertime anyway. So students outside of BPC don't need to worry about that. And in terms of refund, we would try and process refunds as soon as possible. Obviously, our finance team are also working at home at the moment, so there are slight delays in all of those things, but normally we try to turn around refunds within a month at the latest.
Okay. Yeah, so I think for a student like Ashley, I think best really is to speak to the education advisor so they can
Yes.
double check with the university in terms of that. I think the final question is regarding to the English test as well. It seems like it's a really popular area. As a bar student, she's asking what is the minimum score to get accepted for the bar course?
The minimum score that we have is IELTS of 7. So that's the minimum score that we need. We do have a little bit of flexibility on some of the individual components, but it depends what the overall is and what some of those the kind of individual ones are as well. Some students will already be exempt potentially. So if they've studied it, if you've got an offer with us and it is conditional just on your academic, you won't need to take IELTS. But for those students who do need it, there is a little bit of flexibility depending on which of the elements it is. But again, that is quite often case by case. We are also as well trying to put in a little bit of support. So one of the things we talked about this year is if there is enough demand, is some additional English language for students who perhaps aren't quite at that 7 or 7.5, to give them a little bit of support. So again, if we get feedback from students that there is interest for that, we can also look at that.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Sophie. I think
that's okay.
All the questions for now, but if there are any more questions, we will just send it to you later
yes.
on.
Yeah, please do. Thank you. And thank you for inviting me. And everyone stay safe.
Thanks a lot, Sophie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So moving on for the next university, we have Northumbria. So Trista from Northumbria will talk about the update that they have in Northumbria University. Hi, Trista.
Hi, Warren. Hi, how are you?
Very good, very good. And yourself?
Yes, good. Oh, good.
Perfect. Yeah, so I'll pass the time to you now.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Thank you. Is it okay to move the slides? Yes, thank you. Hello, hi, my name is Trista. I'm the International Recruitment Manager at Northumbria. So it's great to speak to you all. So at Northumbria, we know that many applicants and inquiries and current students, they all have questions and concern about their study at Northumbria. So here I have listed some of the most common asked questions for our current student and the current applicant. So if you have any question, please do ask here in the chat, and then I'll try to answer them later. But please know that we will be updating our website regularly as we receive guidance and as the situation changes. So we are here to support you. Please feel free to get in touch with us if you have any questions, and we'll communicate regularly with all our students who have applied to us or who have inquiry to Northumbria and register for our communication. At the end of this presentation, I'll also provide some useful link for you to keep updated. So also for you to keep in touch with us if you have further questions. So for current Northumbria students, so these are some of the common questions. So I know some students might have already gone home. So the question is that how do I monitor my attendance or engagement remotely? So it's really important that you register your attendance online so that we know you're engaged with your studies. So we need to know this information so that we can continue to offer our advice, guidance, and support to any student who may need it. So if you are a Newcastle-based student, please register your attendance online via My Attendance, wherever you engage with the module during the week. And there are also instructions on how to do this on your student portal so that you can register your attendance and notify us of absence. And if you're a student studying at our London campus or are subject to immigration control, we'll be monitoring your engagement with your online courses material to ensure compliance with the UKVI policy as well. So second question, I'm an international student. Is my visa affected if I go home and study? So UKVI has issued a statement which recognizes that this is an exceptional situation. So please do not worry if you go back home. Please just continue to engage with your learning and do register your attendance online. And then please check the student information from UKEC as well, so they will have more updated information about the visa. Warren, sorry, can we change to next slide? Yeah, thank you. So the other question from the current student is like, my work or dissertation has been disrupted, so can I have extension? So we appreciate that this is a difficult time, so the dissertation or the project, that is a very important part of your program. So an extension of up to 2 weeks can all be agreed with your tutor. So please contact your tutor if it's required. Also, another question is like, can I terminate my accommodation tenancy agreement if I go home? So for students who are living currently in Clark Gibbs, Garimara House, New Bridge Street, Trinity Square, Levine Hall, Wing Studio, so these students are able to terminate their tenancy agreement with us for the rest of the academic year and return home or to another accommodation without being penalized. So if you have already chosen to do this, please know that our rent will be waived from 17 April 2020. So if you wish to end your accommodation contract, please request this by email to cr.accommodation.fees@northumbria.ac.uk as soon as possible. And for other private sector landlords, we are aware that many students have tenancy agreement with private sector landlords. So university is actively engaged with our contacts in as many organizations as possible to encourage them to take a similar practice to the university at this difficult time. So this will unfortunately, there will unfortunately be landlords though who will not be willing to release a student from their tenancy agreement. So if this is the case and you're experiencing serious financial difficulty, please contact the University Student Life and Wellbeing team via the student portal. I'll also provide the email later on. Sorry, next slide. Thank you. So for current students, please keep checking our website. As I can't stress anymore, that it's following also there will be all the update on our website and also following all the government guidance. And any question, just get in touch with us. And some of the questions from the applicants are, is anything going to change about the offer, and will you be waiving any of the conditions? So university has a duty of care to ensure that all the applicants are properly prepared to study at Northumbria. And we are aware that some universities, they probably have already waiving academic condition in light of the disruption of exam and changing offer from conditional to unconditional. But at Northumbria, we do not believe that this is in the interest of supporting freedom of student choices, and it places unfair pressure on students as well, particularly at this stressful time. So in line with official recommendation from government, Northumbria University will be waiting for approval grades to be released, and will then follow the standard process. And second questions are, if you may not be able to arrive by the start of the program, can you arrive later? So at the moment, our start date for the program will remain unchanged. However, we are monitoring the situation daily and will update our website regularly. If you are due to start a course soon or are worried about arriving late due to the arrival restrictions, then please use the Contact Us button on your applicant portal, and the team will get in touch with you directly. So for student, next slide, please. So for students whose examination have been cancelled or affected, so we are aware that many exams, particularly international qualifications, some international exams have been cancelled or may be affected. So we'll be providing information for all the affected applicants as information becomes available. So please do keep checking our website. And then if you are unable to book English test due to the test center closure or due to the travel restriction, we are aware that many applicants are unable to book tests. So Northumbria University will accept a wide variety of English tests and exemptions such as IELTS, PTE, TOEFL, Trinity College London, Cambridge. There may be an alternative. So if you have any specific query relating to evidence of the English language, please contact us directly via the contacts button on the application portal again. And then also the COVID-19 update for English language test can also be found on the link here. So you'll be able to see the update here. So for the current student, next slide, please. So for current student, the advice from the university is that we are making adjustment and including plan that so the exam can be done from home or elsewhere, and your academic staff will be in touch with you shortly about specific arrangement for you. But the information on the student portal are being updated all the time, so please make sure to regularly check the website and your emails as well. But in the meantime, if you have any concern, please contact us for help through your student portal or by telephone. And for applicants, please get in touch with our applicant service if you have any question about your application or offer. You can also find Contact Us button on your applicant portal as well. And or use our live chat or WhatsApp service to talk to one of our team, and we'll get in touch with you as soon as possible. So thank you. That's all. So thank you for your time, and hopefully everyone can keep safe wherever you are. So just be assured that we're all here to support all our students and all the applicant prospective students. So like I said, any question, just get in touch with us. We have all the communication channel open for all our students. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Trista. Thank you for all the information.
Yeah, sure.
There's two questions. I think one of the students that asked about the current situation is, should students be concerned about studying in the UK due to the virus? Would they be able to request the deposit refunded?
Yes, for the deposit, we will refund the deposit if the students are not able to join the intake. So our standard deposit refund policy still apply, and we will of course refund the deposit in those scenarios. So if the students are feeling they are affected by COVID-19 and which impact their ability to meet the condition of offer or entry to the UK due to the travel restriction, so we'll be able to refund the student deposit and discuss possible deferral option with the student. So just get in touch with with us or get in touch with one of the counselor, and we'll be able to pick up from there. Yeah.
Thank you. One more question is from Yen from Singapore. She's asking, will students be able to defer their offer? And if yes, what are the conditions, such as the deadline to accept, deposit, etc.?
And in terms of a defer, so again, the policy is still the same. So students are okay, are able to defer their study to the to second year. So the policy is still the same, and then we're monitoring all the situation. So if the student they want to defer their study, or we can provide other possible deferral option for the student as well, just get in touch with our applicant service, and then we'll be able to get back to the student.
Okay. I think we have one more question. Is Carmen from China. She said,
yes.
Due to the pandemic, will the applications result be released slower? I think she's wondering whether the admission team is still working at the minute.
Yes, yes. All the staff we are still all working from home to ensure all our students get the support they need. So we even have we still have one staff from the security staying in campus. And then so all the admission are all working from home, and then to ensure the application is still processed, and then offer and class are still being able to process as soon as possible.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, I think really for students is if they have any pending applications of just really speak to education advisors so they could speak to
yes.
the university to chase that up.
Yes, please do. Yeah, please do. Yeah.
So some student, one more question is about for the bar course. Some student ask, what about the interview? Because some of the students do require for the interview. So would there be any delay on that?
There won't be delay. We're still trying to arrange the interview as soon as possible. But if there are certain situation the student can't make the interview, so all the applicant will be in touch by our admission team in terms of the interview requirement. So if there any change of the circumstance, that we will be able to get back to our application service. And then for any student who have any difficult situation in terms of the interview, that will offer an alternative option for students to do the interview.
That's perfect. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Trista. I think that's all the questions that we have for now.
Okay.
But if there are any more questions, yeah, it's the same. I think we'll just get in touch with you and help the student with all the answers.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for your time, Trista.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So moving on, we will have our final universities for today. So we have Calvin and Sam from the University of Law. Hi, Calvin and Sam. Can you hear me?
Hi there, Sam here. How are you?
Perfect. Yes. So I'll pass the time to you now.
Thanks very much. So I'm Kelvin Jones, Director of International for GUS, the majority shareholder of the University of Law, and Sam Hampton is the Head of Conversion and Recruitment at the University. I'd just like to thank both our colleagues in the sector, Sophie and Trista, for their presentations, and they've obviously given us some insight into the current situation and pretty much how most universities are viewing the situation at the moment, that we're really looking to support students in whatever way we can during this difficult time, subject to, of course, the requirements of the university. Okay, Warren, thank you for inviting us today as well. So the presentation covers a few different areas as requested by Warren and his team. So we are currently running on programs online at the university, and we're continuing to monitor the entire situation and see how that changes on the ground. For LLB, MA Law, GDL and LPC, and also our barrister courses, we're using Panopto recordings for each large group and workshop, and the allocated tutor is actually taking the student through all of the materials online. The University of Law has been delivering online teaching for the last decade, so we're very well set up to transition students onto that mode. the collaborative sessions are actually held by tutors as well. So where there were the collaborative sessions that were facilitated by tutors, they're continuing, but in an online format. And we're finding the students are engaging with that quite well at the moment. For the business school, the programs are continuing to run in the same way as they were previously, but again online. And the timetable is actually almost identical to the timetable that was delivered when the classes were face-to-face. The assessments are currently under review, so we're working out exactly how the assessments will be completed, and we're looking at a range of options, and we're making sure that students are being kept up to date through the program director of their course, through the online portal. Okay, next slide please, Warren. Okay, so some pertinent advice, which again reiterates some of the points that both Sophie and Trista mentioned. If you're an existing student and you're going through some difficulties or you're experiencing symptoms, then it's really critical that you follow the current Home Office and NHS advice. The monitoring of absences at the moment for those suffering from those symptoms will be classed as authorised, and this means that your Tier 4 sponsorship will not negatively be affected. In relation to withdrawal from a programme, or if you plan to return home, the Home Office has confirmed that in these cases, we're required to report a withdrawal of Tier 4 sponsorship as normal. And so therefore you would receive a curtailment of your visa. However, if you'd like to return to your home country due to concerns about the coronavirus, if you decide to return home, we can continue your Tier 4 sponsorship during your period of absence. But there are more details on our website, so you'll be able to see much more clear information on our website, which has been updated by our international visa team. Warren? Okay, so will you have any problems returning to the UK on your current Tier 4 student visa? As long as you've kept in communication with the relevant department, the visa compliance team, you should not have any problems as to your Tier 4 visa student status. If your visa is due to expire, so if you're an existing student and your visa is due to expire, but you are unable to leave to the UK due to travel restrictions, there is some Home Office guidance on this, and it's really critical that you liaise very closely with our visa compliance team and also view the website information from the Home Office as well. They've clearly stated that you will not be regarded as an overstayer, and this will not negatively affect any future visa applications for the UK. There are specific nuances to that, so it's important that you make yourself aware of them. So at this stage, the Home Office has only confirmed that current visas can be extended until the 31st of May. So that was the nuance of what they've described. They'll be reviewing this by the 31st of May, and they'll update their web pages with further information. With regards to biometric residence permits, they've given specific advice about that and who will be impacted by that as well. Warren? Next slide, please. Okay, so future students and frequently asked questions. Is the September intake going to run? I know that that's probably an important question for everyone and also for every university in the sector. We're expecting the September intake to run as normal. And during this transitional period of difficulty, we're actually planning to make sure that there's minimal disruption to the students' current plans for study and also future plans. We're reviewing the current portfolio of programs and looking at additional start dates for them as well. So like Sophie had mentioned and Trista as well, we're reviewing our intake dates and we're looking at where we can make adjustments to make the experience for students as smooth as possible. And we'll continue to update our website with information on that, and UKEC will be the first to hear about that. We are committed to ensuring that there's minimal disruption to the students' future plans in general, and that's including the on-campus programs. And as I'd mentioned previously in the presentation, we are currently running online courses for the range of most of our programs, and we will continue to do that as well. So in relation to eligibility, this is another question, and it is an ongoing internal process at the moment. We are engaging with all of the relevant bodies, including UCAS and relevant departments for education, and we're looking at making sure we can utilize all of the information that we have and all of the intelligence we gather to take good decisions to support international students. So we are reviewing our English language tests and those that we accept, because we appreciate that many of the test centres are closed, and that creates considerable challenges for students at the moment. Warren? Okay, so as we have transitioned our students onto online learning from campus, from face-to-face teaching, there are a considerable range of online events, including live chat, Facebook and Instagram, webinars. We're using the same software as UKEC are using as well to deliver a number of our presentations and lectures online. And we're also using other on-demand course presentation softwares as well to make sure we can reach the widest variety of students to provide them information. I think with many students sat at home at the moment, you're a captive audience for us, so we're keen to reach out to you to reassure you, support you, and make sure you have all of the information in order to take a decision on your future study. So the pertinent question that everyone's interested in is in relation to the refund of any payments. So we've changed our liability dates, so when students can actually withdraw from applications after paying a deposit, and we've extended it to the 31st of August 2020. So it's just before the start of the course. And this means that you'll be entitled to a refund of any fees paid. And should we have to cancel your program, then you'll receive a refund of your deposit and any payments to made towards your tuition fees as well. Our deposit, similar to UWE, is £3,000 in order to be issued a CAS as a minimum. In relation to scholarships surrounding these circumstances, we are reviewing our pricing structure in relation to bursaries that we offer for students, especially around international students who are significantly impacted by this. We appreciate that the difficulties that you're all facing at the moment may or may not impact examinations depending on where you're based, and we are considering how we will support students in transitioning onto programs with us, ideally in September. And of course, reviewing the portfolio of programs and considering where we can have additional intakes for both undergraduate and postgraduate courses as well. Warren? Okay, so this is time for some questions, and I will lean on my colleague who has a lot more information and insight as to the general Q&A around this area as well. So if there are any questions, Warren, I'd be happy to answer them. It's
Thanks a lot, Kelvin. Yes, so we have a few questions. I think this is quite a good one. One of the students asking whether there are any changes for the July intake for BPC.
That's a good question, Warren. Regrettably, we've already made the decision to cancel the BPC program running in July. So anybody who's made an application should have already been informed. I'm not completely sure it's been withdrawn from our website yet, but if not, it will be done so imminently. Anyone who's been affected has already been offered the September intake as an alternative option. And for anybody considering a new application, I'd therefore recommend applying for September directly.
And just to add in, we're actually doing our interviews online. We've been doing our interviews online for international students for a few years, and that's continuing as well. So students are still able to go through the interview process.
Yes,
yeah,
so
correct. I'm reliably informed that we have availability at the moment on those online Skype interviews. So if anybody still needs to complete that component.
So we have, speaking of the interview, there's a question about the interview. Yeah. So the student asking, I got through the first stage of application and was invited for an interview for the bar course. How will the interview be affected with this current situation as I'm back in my home country?
Yeah, I suppose just to reiterate what Kelvin said, we've migrated all of the interviews onto our Skype platform now. So we won't be running any more face-to-face interviews for the time being, but we have, for years, been running these interviews via Skype as well. So we see that as being an equally effective method of doing the interview. I've encouraged students to pursue that path.
So I assume that the online...
their return home, sorry, their return home won't impact them then?
So I assume that the interview is going to be, the online interview is going to be conducted during UK time, right?
Yeah, so there's actually a number of slots that are available. You can actually book the online event via the same portal as you could book the face-to-face events. So if the questions come from an applicant who's received that invite to interview email, they should simply follow the link in the email. That will take them onto our portal and they'll be able to see the range of times that are available. So they will be scheduled as UK times, but obviously there's slots throughout the day. So hopefully there should be a slot that works for everyone regardless of what time zone they're in.
Perfect, thank you. Moving on to the deposit part, some students are asking, is it confirmed that the £3,000 deposit is refundable if the student were to withdraw before the 31st of August?
Yeah, so just to confirm how our fee liability works, as a prospective Tier 4 student, you don't have to pay any acceptance deposit. However, before we'd issue you a CAS, you are required to pay a £3,000 initial payment. Now, there's no liability for our fees until the 1st of September, which means if you cancel your place up to the 31st of August, then you're not liable for that fee payment and you will receive the £3,000 back.
But we'd strongly advise you secure your place as early as possible because our programs do tend to fill quite quickly, especially around the barrister programs.
Okay, I think one question is regarding to the BCAT for the bar student, because there's quite a few students ask about that. So I'll summarize it. I think most of the students are concerned about for the BCAT, if there's any latest update on that, because most of the test center has now been closed because of the virus.
Yeah, so this was a concern of ours as well. Last week, I received a message from our National Programme Director who's been in contact with the Bar Standards Board. They've just told basically that they're looking for a solution right now and they should be able to announce it as soon as possible. So there's actually a section on the Bar Standards Board's website which acts as an FAQ related to COVID-19. So I'd suggest to any interested students is to keep an eye on that webpage. But obviously in our capacity as well, we'll make sure as soon as we hear anything directly that we'll make sure that all agents and students are updated.
Thank you. One more related to the teaching. Students are worried that they're not sure if the teaching will be online for the September intake. Would they be able to get the refund or money off?
So if the teaching is to take place online for September, there isn't any fee reduction scheduled for the moment. We'd have to monitor that situation as it unfolds. So as Kelvin mentioned, our intention at the moment is to run the programs as per normal. I suppose as and when we had confirmation that any programs weren't able to run as normal, we would update any students then on any changes.
And just to add in, we do have a range of attractive bursaries for international students, especially those applying through UKEC, and they will be able to provide you clear information on any of the bursaries that we're offering for September, including those updated for online programs as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Kevin and Sam. One more question regarding the entry requirements. Students are wondering whether there are any changes under the current situation.
We haven't made any explicit changes to our entry requirements. So I think just to reiterate what the other speakers have said, we're taking our lead at the moment from various governing boards in the UK, including the Office for Students, who've recommended that universities don't make changes to their entry requirements for the time being. But as with everything, I think it's very much a moving beast, and we'll continue to monitor the situation.
Okay. One of the students did ask something quite specific regarding visa. So Yen from Nigeria is asking, a lot of visa centers are now closed in both UK and my home country. Do you have any idea when they will reopen?
At the moment, we have no information on that. Have you received any other insight, Sam?
I hadn't, no, Kelvin. I was hoping you might have something, but I think it's going to be tricky. I can imagine all of these organisations are in a very similar position to us, where it's such a great unknown, but it's very difficult to give definitive answers at the moment.
Yeah, I assume the student would just really have to wait because things are quite uncertain at the minute, right?
Yeah, I think the positive things is through channels like this, you can see a lot of commitment from different organisations and institutions that they want to give students reassurance, and they're committed to making sure that people do have updates as and when they come along. I think most important thing is probably to remain engaged, keep in contact with your ambassadors and so on.
Perfect. Yes, I guess that's all the questions from our student now. Thank you so much for your time, Kevin and Sam. I think quite useful information, and if there's any more questions from our student, we'll relate it back to you two directly.
Thank you very much, Warren.
Cheers, Warren.
Thanks for the invitation, and thank you to Sophie and Trista as well for their contributions. We really appreciate in the sector that everyone's really looking to make sure international students are supported and given the most up-to-date advice. And thank you to the UKEC team as well. Thanks, Warren.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.
We need to have that Skype lunch as well.
With pajamas.
Pajamas optional. You can wear a suit if you like.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay, so back to the main topic. So after talking about free universities, I know some students do worry about other providers as well. So we've selected two more to talk about. So I think probably some students quite worried about is BPP. In general, just to say it again, the entry requirement for the bar course is 2.2 and above. No IELTS required if you submitted the video and it's been approved by the program leader. But the deposit deadline, most of you who received your conditional offer, it says is the 6th of April. However, the university understanding in the current situation, some students might not want to accept the offer that early. So if you have any problem of accepting the offer on the 6th of April, please speak to your education advisor, and they were able to speak to the university to ask whether that could be extended. So this really is on a case-by-case basis. So please speak to your education advisor about that. In terms of deferral, if student would like to defer the offer for next year, student who pay the deposit can defer the offer to the next intake, but only if you pay the deposit. In terms of enrollment date, there's no changes yet, together with all other providers. So, but if there's any other changes in terms of enrollment date, we'll let you know about it. Same with any other providers as well. The advice from BPP is if student going back to the home country, students should inform BPP program support team before leaving. Students should keep up with online teaching as attendance is monitored and recorded. So that's for current BPP students if you're listening to our webinar today. So moving on to the next popular universities, the City University of London. So probably quite a lot of you have applied for that and received an offer. the entry requirement before for the bar program is 2 and above with no IELTS required, but you will have to sign an English declaration form. There's no changes in terms of exam, but one of the popular questions is the student keep asking whether they could extend the deposit deadline for those who hold bar course offer. We spoke with the admission officer from law school, and they said that student could request for a 1-month deposit extension with no reason needed. So please speak to your education advisor, and they will be able to request that for you if you need 1 more month to think about it. We understand things are quite uncertain at the minute. You might need more time to think about it. So please speak to your education advisor. So moving on with INS and BCATs, because I know quite a lot of you are worried about that, whether you need to apply for IN, are there any changes in terms of BCAT? So we've summarized some of the information and we'll try to give you all in this presentation. So first on the INS application, the new requirement is the deadline for having an INS application is 12 weeks before the bar course start date. In terms of application, some students might ask, do I have to apply for more than one IN? Which one should I apply for all of it? So this is not a supermarket. You don't need to get all of it. For INS application, really you only need to do one application to one IN, not more than one. So all you need to do is just choose one and apply for that. So in a really rare situation, they will reject your application. So please don't think that this is like the same as your university application. All you need to do is fill out the application form. So we're going to go through all 4 INs of the requirement. So the first one is grades in. So first, with the grade in, the application must be submitted by post or in person. We understand that in the current situation is difficult. Therefore, students can first submit the application electronically first by email to the admission team. Once they received and check through the documents and they approve it, then you can follow on sending all the documents by post. So some of you probably worry that because some of the document needs to be certified, they couldn't leave their house now. So don't worry about it. Just do everything on email by now. Send it across to the INS admissions team. Once they approve it, then you can send it at a later time once the pandemic is gone. So don't worry about it. Just do it on email for now. For Lincoln Inn, the application must be submitted by post as well, but due to the current situation, all forms needs to be emailed for approval first. So all you need to do, same as Grade Inn, is to email them to the admissions team. If you don't have the email address, please speak to your education advisor. They have a database of all the information that you need. So don't send them any document until you've actually emailed them the forms and all the details. For Middle Temple and Inner Temple, they're doing online application. So all you have to do is to fill out the online application and upload all the scanned documents needed. So regarding BCAT, as we ask when we speak to University of Law, a lot of students are worried about it. We can tell you that most of the tests at the minute are cancelled due to the pandemic. For those of you who have applied for BCAT already, who have arranged for the test, you'll receive an email for the cancellation notice, and you can either request for a refund or to change the time, the test rescheduling subject to availability. So what we suggest from the UKEC side is I would suggest you to request for the refund first, as things are quite uncertain at the minute. When things die down later on, then you can apply for the test again. Don't worry about it. Although BCAT is required, all the providers, they understand that with the current situation, it's impossible to apply for the test, to attend for the test. So just wait until there's further updates. And I'm sure that the Bar Standard Board and all the providers, they're working hard to make sure that this would happen. So please just wait for now. Speak to your education advisor as well, and they will be able to provide you update as soon as we receive anything. So that's all for the BCAT and INS part. And lastly, really what we want to do is give you some useful advice for students who are staying at home. We know it's really difficult for you really just to stay at home most of the time, not being able to meet your friends. Even for us as well in UKEC, we all work from home and it's quite difficult spending most of the time at home. So what we really suggest is to be motivated. For those of you who still need to go to class, attend lectures, create a work schedule timetable. Think about what you need to do for the day. Make a schedule weekly. Think about what do you need to do. Note down all the deadlines. As you know, you will have deadline in terms of your online assessment, online classes that you will have to attend live. So make sure you note down all the deadlines and create a schedule by that. Create a milestone each day. That's really helped you to motivate you so that you can track your progress and take breaks with limitation. So do take breaks, but with a limit. So don't take such a long break. So work out your schedule so you know when you need to take your breaks and avoid distraction. So just be focused for 1 hour, for example, of study, and then take a break, and then study another half an hour, for example. So really just to stay motivated, plan ahead for your day, for your week. It's difficult to be at home, not being able to go to uni with your classmate, with your friends. So stay motivated. And also look after your mental and physical health. So that's really important. Ensure that you're doing a wide variety of tasks and activities. Do go for sports. For those of you who stay in the UK, go for a run, for example. It's really important that you still be motivated, taking care of yourself, in good shape, in good health. For example, one of the suggestions from our education advisor, Carmen, is to do meditation and yoga. Eat a balanced diet, for example, and video call your friends and family who aren't living with you. So this is what happened for me as well. So I started, for us in UKEC, we do video calls most of the time. So it's really important to stay connected with your friends and with your family. You're not alone in this. You shouldn't be. Your friends are in this together with you as well, together with us in the UKEC in this pandemic, and we're here to support you. So for those who are staying in the UK, you should have received one of our gift pack already with the mask. So rest assured, when more arrive, we'll be able to send it to you as well. So stay motivated, stay positive. That's really the key message that we want to bring it to you. So are there any more questions regarding BCAT, INS, or other universities' requirement? So if not, I think that's really is today's webinar. So really for those who in the UK, we just have to say it again, stay at home, protect the NHS and save lives. Really, we need to take good care of ourselves and the others. So do stay at home, only go out when it's necessary. So really, thank you for listening to our webinar today. There's going to be more webinar in the future from other university providers. Your education advisor will let you know. We'll keep you informed, keep you updated. You're not alone in this situation. We're always here to support you. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.